Is Baker Mayfield elite? Most people say no without thinking about it. They don't really compare him to guys like Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar. They compare him more to a Jalen Hurts or a Justin Herbert or even a CJ Stroud. But today, I'm saying he's in that upper echelon of quarterbacks. He is elite, and I'm going to try my best to convince you why. Since the start of 2025, the Bucs are 2-0 with back-to-back road wins. Baker has 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 75.7 QBR, and 2 efficient controlled games. This isn't a one-week spike, it looks like a continuation of last season's surge. So instead of the old narratives, let's use the numbers that actually exist. And to set the table, here's the graphic that's been floating around and what kind of convinced me to make this video. It stacks Baker against the guys that everybody calls elite. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar, using regular season stats since 2023. In the first row, we have passing yards, and Baker sits at 8,926. That's more than Mahomes' 8,556, more than Allen's 8,579, more than Lamar's 8,284, and well ahead of Burrow at 7,416. Volume doesn't equal greatness by itself, though, but volume plus efficiency is exactly what elite quarterbacks give you: sustained production at scale. The second row shows us passing touchdowns, and Baker sits at 74 since 2023. Again, ahead of Mahomes, who has 55, Allen, who has 59, and right there with Lamar with 71 and Burrow with 60. Now, this is not including rushing touchdowns, which of course gives more to Lamar and Allen, but this is a scoreboard stat. You finish drives, you change games. If your gut still says game manager about him, though, you've got to explain 74 passing touchdowns in the past 2 years and some change. The third row is completion percentage, and Baker sits at 67.4, and that's higher than Mahomes and Allen. Burrow pops up at 68.9, and Lamar is right below Baker at 67%. So Baker is right in that pocket with them. Not a dink and dunk number either, given the touchdown volume. The fourth row is passer rating, and Baker sits at 100.6. That's better than Mahomes, better than Allen, a tick below Burrow at 101.9, and well behind Lamar's absurd 112.7. The point here, though, is that he's in the neighborhood with 2 MVP level guys and ahead of the best quarterback on the planet and last year's MVP. That's not fringe, that's top tier efficiency. The fifth row, the last row, is team record, and that matters a lot. In that span, Baker is 21-15, Mahomes is 25-9, Allen 26-10, Lamar 26-9, and Burrow is 16-13. Wins are a team stat, but at the head of your team, you have your quarterback. It matters that Tampa's been on a plus side when he's piling up yards and touchdowns. It means that his production on the field is translating to actual wins, actual things that matter to get you to the postseason and put you in a winning position to potentially compete for a Super Bowl. But what is elite? What defines elite? This is where the conversation usually falls apart because nobody defines elite the same. So let's put my own criteria on it. I'm looking at 2-year production. That puts Baker nearly in the top 5, maybe top 8 in the league. Efficiency, he's clearly above league average with his rating, his completion percentage, his touchdown to interception ratio. Third, we have ball security and decision making, and he's one of the best in minimizing negative plays. And portability. Can your play travel? Can you win on the road and in multiple game scripts? And yes, we've seen him do it twice this year against 2 very competent teams in the Falcons and the Texans. The Texans have probably the best defense in the NFL, and the Falcons are looking a lot better than they looked last year. Michael Penix has obviously taken a step, and I know that the Falcons were a missed field goal away from taking that game to overtime, but what matters at the end of the day is who came out on top, and that was Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like I said, Baker checks all of these boxes. His production is 8,926 yards, 274 touchdowns since 2023. This is top-tier volume in passing yards and scoring. His efficiency is 67.4% completion percentage with a 100.6 rating, and compared to the row of elite quarterbacks that everybody seems to agree on, he's right in there. Ball security in 2025, he has 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 2024, he paired 41 touchdowns with the offense staying on schedule and limiting the turnovers. Portability, like I said, he's 2-0 this year, both road wins, and continuity. We're in year 3 of this window in Tampa Bay, and he started hot once again. Now, of course, when you're arguing for a player to be elite, you always have to take in the counter-arguments, the other opinions. And there's 3 real counter-arguments that I see about why Baker Mayfield might not be considered an elite quarterback yet. Pushback 1, or counter-argument 1, is that he's got no real awards, nothing filling up his trophy case in the NFL. He has no MVP, he has no Super Bowl, and he doesn't really even have a deep playoff run. But awards are lagging indicators. Elite play shows up first in week-to-week data. Phillip Rivers never won a Super Bowl, and Tony Romo didn't either, but they were both still elite in their primes because the production and efficiency demanded it. The other counter-argument that I see a lot is that he's a system quarterback who relies too heavily on his supporting cast. But reality is that every elite quarterback is in a system. The question is whether you elevate that system, and Baker, since 2023, says that he is. More yards than Mahomes, more passing touchdowns than Allen, efficiency right by Burrow and Lamar. The system doesn't throw 74 touchdowns in the past 2 years and some change, right? It's not about the system that elevates Baker. It's the player that he is. He makes the system better, and you can see it because his past 2 offensive coordinators have now been hired as head coaches. Dave Canales with the Panthers, and then Liam Cohen with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what have those 2 done? Of course, Liam Cohen's sample size is very small. He's only had 2 games as a coach. But Dave Canales hasn't shown real progress in Carolina. He had Bryce Young, the former number 1 overall pick, and he's supposed to be this quarterback whisperer. He's supposed to be a quarterback's coach, and yet we haven't seen anything productive come out of Carolina. The last pushback is a smaller one, but it's because 2025 hasn't really kicked off yet. It's true, there's only been 2 games, and that's why I'm trying to take in the multi-year window and use 2025 so far as confirmation, not the foundation. The early signal is clean, and he has no turnovers, he has a strong QBR, and 2 close road wins over playoff caliber teams. But there's one thing that he's striving in, one thing that he is winning in his game, and that's drive finishing, mistake avoidance, and situational steadiness. Like I said, the touchdowns with the drive finishing, 74 since 2023, is the loudest argument in his favor to be elite. Mistake avoidance, he has 0 interceptions this year, and last year he proved that he could be aggressive without being reckless. He can stay himself without turning the ball over at a high volume. And then, of course, situational steadiness. Opening 2025 with 2 one-score road wins isn't sexy on a spreadsheet, but coaches love it because that's elite temperament. So is Baker Mayfield elite? If elite means top-tier production and efficiency sustained across multiple seasons and continuing into the new season to you, then the answer is clearly yes. The graphic that I showed earlier doesn't make him look comparable, it shows he outpaces some icons in critical categories since 2023, and you add in the clean 2-0 start, the case gets even stronger for why Baker Mayfield is elite and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could be dangerous. So I want to hear it from you. Where do you rank Baker Mayfield right now? Top 5, top 8? Drop your tier list below of quarterbacks. I'll try to pin the best breakdown if you want to give me the reason why, and I'm going to try to respond to every single comment. So if you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe.